For centuries, businesses have viewed their workers as both their greatest asset and their biggest expense. And when push comes to shove, expense always wins. Every era has had its buzzword for cutting down on labor: downsizing, outsourcing, right-sizing, lean operations, or more recently, automation. The strategy has always been the same: find a way to reduce costs by replacing human labor, whether it's through machines, overseas contracts, or simply overworking fewer employees. But something feels different this time. The rise of artificial intelligence isn't just about streamlining processes or trimming the edges of the workforce. It's about the complete transformation of labor itself. Large language models can draft emails and write reports. Generative AI creates art, design, and even code. Robots are stepping into logistics, manufacturing, and even customer service roles. And though today's AI systems are far from perfect, the rate of improvement is incredible. They're not just coming for the repetitive, mundane jobs. They're knocking on the door of skilled professions too. This is undeniably bad news for workers. Industries are pivoting faster than governments can regulate or workers can retrain. You can replace your factory workers with robots, your customer service reps with chatbots, and your creative teams with algorithms. But corporate leaders might want to consider an inconvenient question. If you automate everyone out of a job, who's going to have money to buy your products? It's evident that automation has become a cornerstone in modernizing business operations, enhancing efficiency, and driving economic growth. One of the most significant advantages of automation is its capacity to handle repetitive and mundane tasks, thereby freeing employees to engage in more strategic and creative endeavors. This shift not only enhances job satisfaction, but also fosters innovation within organizations. A study by McKinsey & Company found that nearly half of today's work activities could be automated using current technology, suggesting a vast potential for reallocating human effort towards more value-added tasks. In terms of productivity, automation has proven to be a game changer. Businesses that have embraced automated processes report significant time savings and efficiency gains. A report by Bain & Company highlights that leading firms in automation investment have achieved cost reductions more than twice that of their less automated peers, illustrating the competitive edge that automation can provide. Automation facilitates data-driven decision-making by providing real-time insights and analytics. Automated systems can collect and analyze vast amounts of data swiftly, enabling organizations to respond quickly to market dynamics. This capability is particularly valuable in customer service, where AI-powered chatbots and voice assistants can handle inquiries efficiently, leading to improved customer satisfaction. The adoption of automation also plays a crucial role in enhancing workplace safety. By delegating hazardous tasks to machines, companies can significantly reduce the risk of workplace injuries, ensuring a safer environment for their employees. This aspect is especially pertinent in industries such as manufacturing and mining, where the implementation of automated systems has led to a notable decrease in accident rates. Automated systems can handle increased workloads seamlessly, enabling companies to grow and meet rising demand efficiently. This scalability is vital for businesses aiming to maintain competitiveness in rapidly evolving markets. In the realm of small and medium-sized enterprises, automation has leveled the playing field, enabling them to compete with larger corporations. But those are the benefits. Here comes the bad news. The promise of automation is simple. Machines and algorithms can do what humans do, but faster, cheaper, and with fewer mistakes. For businesses, this means reduced costs and increased efficiency. For workers, however, it spells disaster. In the past, technological advancements often created new industries and jobs to replace those that were lost. The Industrial Revolution replaced some agricultural labor with factory jobs, but it also gave rise to entirely new fields like textiles, steel production, and urban infrastructure development. Automation, by contrast, destroys jobs without creating comparable alternatives. Take, for example, the transportation industry, where self-driving vehicles threaten to replace millions of truck drivers, delivery workers, and taxi operators. When automation takes over entire sectors, it doesn't just eliminate jobs, it undermines the entire foundation of local economies. Cities that rely on industries like manufacturing, retail, or customer service face significant challenges as these jobs disappear. This phenomenon has already turned parts of once thriving regions, such as the Rust Belt in the US, into economic dead zones. In Youngstown, Ohio, the closure of steel mills decades ago left the city in decline. But modern automation ensures that even those mills that remain open need fewer workers. In retail, self-checkout machines have replaced cashiers, while warehouse robots reduce the need for human packers and stockers. What's particularly alarming is that this trend isn't slowing down. Unlike previous technological waves, AI and robotics don't have the same ceiling of complexity. Once a job can be automated, it rarely ever returns to human hands. Economic systems are symbiotic. Businesses need consumers to buy their products, and consumers need wages to afford them. But what happens when automation takes away those wages? This creates a dangerous paradox. On one hand, companies embrace automation to cut costs and boost profitability. On the other hand, by reducing the buying power of the average person, they inadvertently sabotage their own markets. A 2020 study from Oxford Economics highlighted how automation impacts overall economic health. For every 1% increase in robot density, unemployment rates increase and wages decline in affected industries. Reduced wages lead to declining consumer spending, a key driver of GDP growth. Consider the case of call centers, an industry that once provided steady, middle-income jobs for millions globally. As AI-driven chatbots and voice assistants take over, thousands of workers are being displaced. This means less money circulating in the economy, which impacts not only those who lose their jobs, but also businesses that rely on their spending. Faced with declining spending power among the majority, businesses are pivoting their strategies. Instead of relying on mass market sales, many companies are now focusing on a smaller, wealthier clientele. This is perhaps most evident in the video game industry. Free-to-play games have mastered the art of freemium pricing, offering a product for free, but monetizing heavily through microtransactions. While the majority of players spend little to no money, a small group of affluent users, known as whales, spend thousands or even millions to gain in-game advantages. These whales fund the entire ecosystem, turning what could have been a mass-market product into one that caters to an elite few. This strategy isn't limited to gaming. Luxury brands across industries are thriving because their target market, wealthy individuals, remains unaffected by automation's economic disruption. In fact, the number of wealthy consumers is growing, even as the middle class shrinks. This trend highlights a harsh truth. The economic system is increasingly structured around serving the rich, while everyone else is left to fend for themselves. In the past, most people built wealth through hard work and saving. But today, the value of labor is steadily declining, while the value of assets, stocks, real estate, and businesses is skyrocketing. Those who own assets benefit immensely from automation, as it increases profitability without requiring additional labor, and those who rely solely on wages are left behind, as their work becomes less valuable over time. The rise of automated systems means that income-producing assets, not labor, are the key to wealth in the modern economy. This trend is backed by data from the World Inequality Report, which shows that wealth inequality has risen sharply in recent decades, fueled by soaring asset values and stagnant wages. The economic consequences of automation are already manifesting in visible ways. Retail closures and the decline of malls, driven by a combination of e-commerce and reduced consumer spending. The transformation of entire cities into ghost towns as industries automate and jobs disappear. The increasing prevalence of financial precarity among younger generations who face mounting student debt, stagnant wages, and the high cost of living. Automation has created an economy where businesses no longer rely on broad consumer bases. Instead, they cater to the wealthy elite, while the majority are excluded from the benefits of technological progress. For an economy to function, there needs to be demand. People with enough money to purchase goods and services, but if automation makes human labor obsolete, then mass unemployment becomes an inevitability. And if people don't have jobs, they don't have income. Without income, they can't afford the products businesses are selling. So, does this mean the entire system collapses? Not necessarily. Instead of a total breakdown, what we're likely to see is a radical transformation. One where companies no longer rely on selling to the masses, but instead focus on an elite customer base, with AI acting as both worker and consumer in a self-sustaining economic loop. One possibility is that as AI takes over jobs, it also becomes the main driver of economic activity. This sounds futuristic, but it's already happening in some industries. Consider high-frequency trading on Wall Street. Here, AI algorithms don't just assist human traders, they are the traders. These systems analyze markets and execute trades at speeds no human could match, creating an entirely automated financial ecosystem where machines trade with each other to generate profit. Now, expand that concept beyond finance. What if AI becomes both the worker and the consumer? AI systems could be programmed to purchase software upgrades, consume cloud services, and even buy raw materials for automated production facilities. Companies wouldn't need human consumers anymore, just other AI-driven businesses. This sounds like an economy spinning off into an abstract, post-human realm. But in a world where AI systems manage supply chains, marketing, customer service, and production, businesses may find that they only need to interact with other AI systems, while humans become an afterthought. Of course, this raises an even bigger question. If machines are making and buying everything, what role is left for humans? Historian Yuval Noah Harari has warned about the emergence of what he calls the useless class, a growing population of people who have been rendered economically irrelevant by AI and automation. Unlike previous industrial shifts, where displaced workers could transition into new industries, automation is advancing so rapidly that entire skill sets are becoming obsolete within a single generation. If millions of people are no longer needed for work, society will have to find a way to sustain them. There are a few potential solutions. If AI handles all meaningful work, the majority of humans might spend their time consuming entertainment, not as a leisure activity, but as their primary occupation. This is already happening in a way. Social media, video games, and streaming services have become dominant forms of engagement, keeping billions of people occupied. In a fully automated world, entertainment might evolve into something even more immersive. Perhaps AI-generated virtual worlds where people spend most of their time as digital consumers rather than real-world contributors. We see hints of this already in industries like gaming, where the most lucrative companies are those that monetize attention rather than products. If AI keeps people passive and entertained, it reduces the risk of societal unrest while ensuring that the economy continues to function, even if people are just consuming media created by machines. The other major proposal for dealing with AI-driven job loss is Universal Basic Income, UBI, a system where the government provides every citizen with a guaranteed stipend, regardless of employment status. We made a video on whether or not UBI is a good idea. You can check that out after this one. Anyway, the idea is basically, if people can't earn money through work, the government gives them money to maintain a minimum level of economic participation. This isn't a theoretical idea. Several pilot programs have already tested it. In Finland, a UBI experiment found that recipients reported improved mental well-being and financial security, but it didn't significantly increase employment. In the US, studies have shown that UBI can reduce poverty and increase overall spending, but it's unclear if it's a viable long-term solution. But here's the problem. Where does the money come from? If businesses are no longer hiring workers and paying wages, tax revenue collapses. Some propose taxing AI and automation directly, forcing companies that use AI to contribute to a universal income pool. Others suggest that a new economic model will have to emerge, where governments own a share of automated industries and redistribute profits to the public. Regardless of the specifics, some form of income redistribution will likely be necessary if millions of people are excluded from the traditional workforce. If AI takes over most jobs and only a small elite benefits from automation, we could see a return to a feudal-like system where wealth and power are concentrated in the hands of those who control AI and automated industries. Society could split into two main classes: the AI-owning elite, a small group of individuals and corporations that own and control AI-driven businesses, accumulating vast wealth, and the consumer class, a much larger population that survives through government subsidies, entertainment consumption, and the occasional gig job that still requires human input. We're already seeing glimpses of this divide today. The richest 1% own more wealth than the bottom 50% of the global population. Stock ownership is heavily concentrated, meaning that as companies profit from automation, the benefits flow primarily to investors, not workers. Real estate prices continue to rise, making asset ownership increasingly out of reach for the average person. If these trends continue, most people won't be active participants in the economy. They'll just be spectators. The world may not collapse into chaos, but it also won't look anything like the economy we know today. Work, in the traditional sense, will no longer define human existence. Instead, the challenge will be finding meaning in a world where most people are economically irrelevant. For now, businesses will keep adapting. Governments will keep experimenting, and individuals will keep searching for their place in an AI-driven world. But one thing is clear: the future will belong to those who own, control, or influence AI. For everyone else, the best hope is that they're at least entertained along the way. Now this, and the bunch of other reasons, are why people don't bother getting jobs. Click on the video on screen to understand why nobody wants to work anymore.